I didn't realize anything was wrong at first. That's the part that still bothers me. The fact that the warning wasn't loud or dramatic. It was small, ordinary, the kind of thing you brush off because Christmas is coming, because you're tired, because you want to believe everything is fine. The first sign was the calendar. I had circled December 23rd in red pen before we left. Not for any ominous reason, just a reminder that we'd be driving back that morning, before the mountain roads iced over. When I woke up that first morning in the cabin, the circle was still there. But the date inside it wasn't. It said December 22nd. I remember standing there in my socks, holding a mug of coffee that had already gone cold, staring at that square on the wall calendar, and thinking, that's strange. I must have circled the wrong day. That was the moment I could have listened to my gut. Before I go any further, I need to say this. If you've ever rented a cabin in the Appalachians for the holidays, especially one that's off-grid or quietly secluded, pay attention to the small details. And if anything in this story reminds you of a place you've been or a decision you're about to make, leave a comment below. I want to know what you think. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. You'll see why the smallest things can matter so much. The cabin was advertised as authentic, hand-built, family-owned for generations. No Wi-Fi, no cell service, no distractions. Just forest, snow, and silence. It sat deep in the Appalachian Mountains, about 40 minutes from the nearest town, up a narrow gravel road that twisted like it didn't want visitors. Pine trees crowded both sides, their branches heavy with snow, leaning inward like they were listening. I booked it for myself. No friends, no family. Just me, a week off work, and the idea that a quiet Christmas alone would help me reset. That probably sounds sad to some people, but I needed it. Earlier that year, I'd gone through something I don't like to talk about: an accident, a loss, a lot of guilt. The kind of thing that makes silence feel safer than conversation. The cabin had everything you'd expect. A stone fireplace, a small kitchen, 2 bedrooms, even though it was meant for 1 or 2 guests. There were Christmas decorations already set up, string lights along the mantel, a fake tree in a corner, and a wooden sign above the door that read, "Welcome home." That struck me as odd, but not unsettling. Just personal. Like the owners took pride in the place. The first day passed quietly. I unpacked, chopped firewood, made soup. Snow fell steadily, soft and soundless. At night, the woods were darker than anything I'd experienced before. No highway glow, no distant houses, just blackness pressing up against the windows. Still, I slept well. I woke up early the next morning. That's when I noticed the calendar, the first breach. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe I'd circled the wrong date. Maybe I'd misremembered. Memory isn't perfect, especially when you're alone and out of routine. I crossed out the 22nd and rewrote 23rd, feeling faintly foolish for letting it bother me. Then I noticed something else. My boots, heavy winter boots I always leave by the door, were wet, not damp from yesterday's snow. Wet, like they'd just been worn outside. There were no footprints leading away from the cabin. Fresh snow covered everything, smooth and untouched. I checked the door. Locked, windows secure, fireplace cold. I laughed it off. Maybe snow melted off the roof. Maybe I'd stepped outside without remembering. Trauma does strange things to your sense of time. That was my explanation. It worked for a while. Over the next 2 days, small things kept happening. The radio turned itself on once, crackling with static, before settling on a local station playing an old Christmas hymn. I assumed it was a power fluctuation. The cabin had a guest log book on the coffee table. I flipped through it one night, reading cheerful entries from past visitors. Families, couples, writers looking for solitude. The last entry before mine stopped mid-sentence. Third night here. Something about this place feels no date, no signature. That made me uneasy, but not afraid. People leave unfinished notes all the time. Maybe they were interrupted. Maybe the page tore. I wrote my own entry beneath it. Quiet so far. Snow is beautiful. Exactly what I needed. Looking back, I wish I'd written more. Something specific. Something that proved I was still thinking clearly. That night, I heard footsteps on the porch. Slow. Heavy. Like someone pacing back and forth. I froze in bed, heart hammering, listening. The steps stopped right outside the front door. I waited for a knock. It never came. After several minutes, I forced myself to get up and look. The porch was empty. Snow untouched. No footprints, no disturbances. I slept with the bedroom door locked after that. Frequency increase and unpredictability. By Christmas Eve, the cabin no longer felt empty. I'd hear movement in rooms I wasn't in. A chair scraping softly. The faint sound of breathing that stopped when I focused on it. The worst part was the clock. The old analog clock above the fireplace would stop at exactly 2:17 a.m. every night. Dead still. No ticking. No movement. Then, sometime before morning, it would start again. I tested it. Changed the batteries. Watched it closely. At 2:17, it stopped. I started writing things down, times, sounds, feelings. I needed proof for myself. Something concrete. That's when I noticed the timestamps on my notes didn't make sense. Entries I remembered writing in the evening were dated early morning. Ones I wrote at night were marked afternoon. Either my watch was wrong, or I was losing time. I checked the guest logbook again. There was a new entry, written in handwriting that looked disturbingly close to mine. Still here. Still pretending this is fine. I hadn't written that. The irreversible breaking point. That night, the footsteps came back. This time, they didn't stop at the door. They moved inside the cabin. Slow, deliberate steps on wooden floorboards. One room, then another. I sat on the bed, gripping a fireplace poker, whispering to myself that it was stress, exhaustion, imagination. That if I didn't react, it would stop. The steps paused outside my bedroom door. Then the handle turned. It rattled gently, like whoever was there didn't want to wake me. A voice spoke my name. It sounded like me. Not a recording, not distorted. Just wrong in a way that's hard to explain. Like hearing your own voice echo in a space that's too small. "I know you're awake," it said softly. "You always are at this point." I didn't scream. I couldn't. My body felt locked in place. The voice sighed, disappointed, still pretending. The footsteps retreated. The front door opened, closed. Complete silence filled the air. When I finally worked up the courage to leave the room, the guest logbook was open on the table. A new entry, written slowly, carefully. "He always stays through Christmas. I left at dawn. I didn't pack properly. I didn't clean. I didn't even put out the fire. I just grabbed my keys and ran." The road down the mountain felt longer than before, the trees closer, the sky heavier. When I reached town, my phone buzzed with notifications, like it had just woken up. Missed calls, messages. One text from my sister stood out. "Are you okay? You didn't come back yesterday." Yesterday. According to her, it was December 26th. I checked my watch, my notes. The calendar photo I'd taken on my phone. The image showed December 23rd circled in red. No crossing out. No correction. Later, I looked up the cabin. The listing was gone. No website. No rental history. Nothing. But sometimes, usually late at night, when I'm not fully asleep, I hear that clock again. Stopping. Waiting. And every Christmas, without fail, I find snow melted onto my boots. I don't live near the mountains. 3 subtle takeaways. 1. Fear doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it waits for you to explain it away. 2. The unknown isn't always outside. Sometimes it uses your routines, your voice, your memories. 3. Warnings are easy to miss when they're familiar, especially when they look like your own thoughts. If you felt chills reading this, or if this story reminded you of something strange you've experienced, subscribe and comment below. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think really happened at the cabin. And if you want more stories like this, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another tale of the unexplained. Because some places don't want you to leave, and they're very patient about it.